I used to think that the stories of heroes that I read in history painted this perfect picture, this ideal picture of a person that I could really, never really catch up to. Until I got older and I started reading thicker biographies of these leaders and their life stories. And I started to read about some of their mistakes, some of their challenges, some of their hiccups, some of the stuff that they didn't even want people to know about was a challenge for them. And when I read those stories, when I read those chronicles of their lives, they became real. Now, I didn't lose respect for them, but it helped me to see that many of the great influencers that I've kind of drifted toward are real people. So one of my favorite stories to tell, it's really embarrassing, but one of my favorite stories to tell is the story of how my freshman year in college, I finished with a 1.67 GPA, lost my academic scholarship, made my parents mad, dropped out of school. And the reason why I tell that story, especially to college students, is because the story actually buffers the success that I've experienced in my life. And when you go and you talk to people about how you've traveled around the world, you've talked to thousands of people and you've published a book, some people say, I could never do that. I'm flawed, I'm broken, I make too many mistakes. But by sharing with them some of the not so bright spots or parts of my personal history, it lets them know that I'm a real person who's made real mistakes, and they're real people who have made mistakes, and they can achieve great things too. The way that this works in leadership is sometimes we're guilty of painting this false picture of what a leader is. We think a leader is this perfect person, this perfect man or woman who has everything together and who has not made any mistakes. And that's crazy. Great leaders are vulnerable leaders, vulnerable from the perspective of they actually pull back the curtain and show you some of the not so bright parts of their personal history, and letting you know from their story that you can overcome some of these deficiencies and to go on to do great things. Some of the most inspiring leaders I've encountered are those who have had significant challenges. If you want to be a better leader to your people, maybe you need to pull back the curtain. Maybe you need to show them the tarnishes in your armor. Maybe you need to share with them some of the mistakes that you've made and let them know that they're in good company. Because some of the best leaders I've encountered have made some of the biggest mistakes I've known of, and they've recovered. And if that's your experience, it's really a tragedy if you don't share that with someone else. So a call to leadership is really a call to be vulnerable.